Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hoge, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
Hi, I'm AJ Hoge, the author of Effortless English. Learn to speak English like a native. That's my book. You can get my book on Amazon or Kobo. Effortless English. Learn to speak English like a native. Train English with me. Join and commit to my VIP program. Join and commit to my VIP program today at effortlessenglishclub.com. effortlessenglishclub.com. VIP members, add the pronunciation course. The pronunciation course fits with the VIP program very well. In fact, the pronunciation course fits with all of my other courses very well. You can do the pronunciation course at the same time while you are also doing the VIP program or Power English or whatever. So it's really a great, powerful combination. Will increase your improvement much faster, even faster. Join both at effortlessenglishclub.com. Go to effortlessenglishclub.com. Let's talk more about this idea, an idea that we talked about this weekend, yesterday, 2 days ago, during the book club show. And that's this idea that we are tested. We're tested by, I don't know, it depends on what word or what idea you have in your mind. I think in The Alchemist, Santiago believed he was being tested by God. And others will use the word, the universe. Maybe others have the idea that it's something more psychological, like our deep unconscious, our collective unconscious. But the basic idea here, however you want to think about it, the idea is something bigger than ourselves, right? Something beyond just our little small selves. Something bigger tests us for some purpose, for some reason, that we are tested in life. And we are most especially tested, challenged is maybe a better word than tested. We're challenged, most especially when we are pursuing, trying to achieve something important, something meaningful, something big. And the second part of this idea from The Alchemist is that these tests, these challenges, actually get more difficult as we get closer to success. This is something else that Santiago believes in the story. That his challenges, you can think of them as problems, his challenges, the test that God is giving him, that's how he thinks about it, get tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher as he gets closer and closer to success. Success for him is reaching the pyramids. So as he gets closer to the pyramids, the challenges, the risks, that's another way to think about it, the risks and the rewards both get bigger and bigger and bigger. This kind of makes sense, right? Because as you get closer to that big success, the big reward of that success, well, at the same time, the risks can also get bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't think we need to argue about this. Is this some kind of 100% law of the universe that is always, always true? In life, this kind of thing is not usually 100% always, 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 but is it a general principle? That's the thing we should think about. Is this something that is generally or frequently true? Does this frequently seem to happen? And I'd say yes, it does, for some rational reasons and perhaps for some spiritual reasons. We discussed some of the rational reasons during the show. I mean, for example, it's easy to see, it's very rational and logical to see that in business, that as you become more successful in business and investing in money, that naturally you are going to take bigger risks because you want bigger rewards, right? Billionaires with a B, like, Donald Trump level billionaires, those guys don't care about $100, right? They don't care about investing to make $100. They don't care about making $1,000. And they don't care about losing $1,000, right? Those risks and those rewards are much too small for them. At that level, after they have reached this level of being a billionaire, of doing these huge business deals, of making so much money and losing large amounts of money too, often, they're not always successful 100%. All those guys lose money too, and they lose large amounts of money. But see, at that level, those guys, they're not going to they're not going to focus on small risks and small rewards. They have become too big in the business world and the investing world. So you can see, just logically, rationally, of course the challenges become bigger for them and the rewards become bigger than they were when they first started. Even if we look at someone like Robert Kiyosaki, he's not a billionaire, he's a millionaire, multi-millionaire, many millions, with an M, millions. So that's a much smaller level than Donald Trump and Bill Gates and those guys. Those guys are at the highest level of billions. But at the next level down, we could look at millionaires who are still, for most of us, they're still got a lot of money. They're still quite rich, like Robert Kiyosaki. But the same thing, Robert Kiyosaki doesn't care about making small deals just to make $1,000. And he probably doesn't care much about losing $1,000 either. Again, he's going to take bigger risks and he wants bigger rewards because he has bigger skill, he has more resources, right? He's financially stronger. For him, small deals, small investments would just be boring. They're not interesting. There's no challenge there. He can't learn anything from those little small deals, those small investments. There's nothing to learn. There's really not much gain for him. There's not much benefit for him. So again, you can kind of see that really just logically, pretty rationally, that someone who has achieved Robert Kiyosaki's level of money, business skill, investing skill, they are naturally going to look for bigger challenges, right? Bigger tests. They're just going to do it naturally. Psychologically, this is a kind of law, or a principle is a better word, right? It's just a principle because when you become a millionaire, you get bored by things that are too easy. We just naturally get bored by things that are too easy. This is true physically. Look at athletes, right? Let's look at just, let's say a powerlifter. Powerlifters. These are the guys who, they just try to lift heavy weights, right? So they're going for heavier and heavier and heavier weights. Well, if a powerlifter can lift, let's say they can deadlift, just pick up. Just pick off on the ground as deadlift. You bend over and you pick it up. It's a simple lift. Well, if someone can deadlift 800 pounds, They're not going to just care about lifting 50 pounds, right? Because that's nothing for them. That's just the bar. They're not going to do exercises lifting the bar. They're not going to get excited about that. That's not a challenge for them at all. That is super boring. They're not even going to do that for a warm-up. It's not even enough for them to warm up. Right? Just naturally, once they reach this level of being able to deadlift 800 pounds, they're naturally going to be attracted to bigger challenges. They're going to want to lift 810 pounds, 850 pounds, 900 pounds. Or at least, even if they don't want to increase, let's say they're older, let's say they're not competing anymore, but still they're at least going to try to stay at that level, around that 800 pound level, right? They're not going to drop down to 50 pounds. So you can even just look at this completely from a psychological viewpoint, that something in our psychology pushes us to look for greater challenges. We get bored when things are too easy. This is one of the problems of modern life. In fact, it's one of the central problems of humanity, we could say. We want challenges and we want to improve. We have this in our minds, right? This helps us survive and grow and keep going as human societies. But then as we solve more and more problems, we create these societies that are more and more safe, more and more comfortable, right? We have a huge amount of food and comfort now, but then that all makes a life that is very, very, very easy. And then we start to get bored. We feel unsatisfied. Our life is not challenging enough, right? We need challenge. We need it. There's something in us, genetically, psychologically, spiritually, I don't know, all of those maybe, that needs challenge. We need some level of difficulty. Now, some people need a whole lot of difficulty, right? Some people they love tough, hard challenges. You know, these are the guys that become Navy SEALs and do extreme sports, and they do crazy stuff. Most of us think, oh my God, that's just crazy, right? The guys that climb, the highest mountains in the world and do the most dangerous things. They're unusual. They need an unusually high amount of difficulty and challenge. And then there's kind of, regular people who still need some, though. And even people who like comfort, even people who like, a fairly relaxed life, they still need some challenge. If you have no challenge at all, if you have no difficulty at all, you become lazier and lazier and lazier, weaker and weaker and weaker, and then physically you become sick. Your body gets weaker and weaker, and you will start to get sicker and sicker and sicker. Your energy will drop. You'll become more sad. You become depressed. It's not good. Very, very bad things happen to humans if life becomes too easy, because then we get super bored. We become weak and bored. So in this way, you can see that psychologically, there's some part of you inside, spiritually or psychologically, that is just naturally going to make things more difficult for you. As you move forward and learn and grow, you don't just stop. You're never satisfied to just stop, because there's something inside of you, deep inside of you, that is pushing you to always improve. Keep going, keep improving, keep learning. There's always more to learn. It's like something inside of us realizes that we can always be a little bit better. We can always become a little bit stronger. We can always become wiser. Yeah, we realize that we're kind of small in a way, that we're limited, and that therefore we're never perfect, and therefore there's always a chance to learn more. No matter how good we are, no matter how strong we are, there's always that opportunity for more. Also, I think if you look at your life, I know if I look at my life, we realize that we are usually very happy when we are in the middle of a difficult challenge. Right? When we're in the middle of a difficult challenge, but this is the key part. A difficult challenge that we believe we can achieve. We believe we can overcome. We believe we can really learn from. That's the key part, right? If you're hopeless, well then the challenges and tough situations, then they feel terrible. That's when you feel depressed and you want to cry and give up. So that's very, very, very important. It's not the challenge and the problems that make us sad and depressed and unhappy. It's the hopelessness that we can't overcome them. Right? Think about it. If you're in the middle of something tough, but you truly believe inside that you will get through and that you will learn from it and that it will make you stronger later, well, you're going to feel good. You may be in pain, you may be tired, but you'll keep going, and you actually, it's an incredible feeling. I can tell you this myself. Exercise is a great example of this. Okay, when I'm in the middle of a hard workout, let's say just doing push-ups. I mean, yeah, it kind of, my arms are burning, and there's part of me that is not really enjoying it. But on the other hand, I know I can do it. I know I can keep going. I know it's going to make me stronger. I know I'm going to feel better afterwards. I'm going to feel kind of energized by the workout. And so I don't cry and get depressed and sad about the pain in my arms, right? That's a small and simple example. So there's something psychologically true about this. We can see this too, that in many people, myself included, many times if your life is very easy, and if the universe is not giving you tests, it is very common to be motivated to give yourself a test. I know I do this all the time. I used to, used to be life would give me tests, and life will still give me tests, and it will always give us tests eventually. But there are some points in my life, maybe for a few years even, where things are quite easy, quite calm. Guess what happens? I start to get bored, and I start looking for challenges. I start creating them. What can I do? I think I'll do the Camino de Santiago. I think I'll start, training this workout program. I think I'll make a new course. I think I'll, whatever. But I'll start finding challenges, creating them myself. Because too easy is not good. We're not happy when things are too easy. It's human nature, right? As you get stronger physically, to want to do just a little more. If we're talking about weightlifting, right? It's natural. You're lifting weight. If you do, last week you did 10, let's say, push-ups. You did 10 push-ups. It's just natural. Next week you want to do 11. You want to do 12. There's just something in our brain that says, can I do one more? I'm going to try. Even if you fail, you're still going to push yourself. There's part of you that just thinks, maybe I can do a little more. Or if not numbers, then maybe you think, maybe I can do more weight. Push-ups are easy now. What if I add weight? What if I wear a backpack with some weight in it, and then I'll do push-ups? Or what if I try to do a one-arm push-up? Or what if I do a bench press? Right? You're the same with English. You're probably very good compared to most people speaking English. Most people probably think, oh, you're quite good English speaker. But you want more, right? You're like, well, I bet I could be better. I know I can be better. I know my pronunciation's not very good. I can improve my pronunciation. I don't really think in English yet. I'm not effortlessly fluent. I can do more, right? You give yourself that challenge. It's human nature. It's natural for us to want to grow and learn and get better and improve. Individually and as groups, too. Of course, in The Alchemist, Santiago, and of course the writer himself, Paulo Coelho, both are describing this in a spiritual or religious way. I'd say spiritual, maybe. It's not so specific to an individual religion, this book. In this book, Santiago is a Christian. He's traveling in Muslim lands, and he meets a lot of Muslims. He meets a gypsy who knows what religion she's supposed to be. So it's kind of, I would say, more spiritual meaning. Coelho is trying to talk about when he's talking about God, he's talking about, the what I think Aldous Huxley called the perennial philosophy. There's a word, I just recently found a word that Hindus use to describe this. Let me see if I can find it. I think I wrote it down. The perennial philosophy. Where did I write it? I don't know where I wrote it. Oh well. Sanatana Dharma, the eternal Dharma. And the idea is that there's this underlying spirit. You can use different words. God, Tao. The Tao Te Ching uses the word Tao. But it's basically the origin, right? That which all comes from, and that which all returns to. And that each religion is trying to describe this and the way to understand this. Tao is a nice word because Tao has most people don't really have any Chinese people kind of have an idea of what this word Tao is, but most people they don't have like a specific religious idea about the word Tao. So sometimes I like to use the word Tao to describe this, because if I say God, then some people might think Christian. If I say Allah, then people think Muslim. If I say Brahmin or something, then people think Hindu. If I say Dharmakaya, people think Buddhism. So I like the word Tao because it's kind of Taoism is not quite a religion. Maybe a philosophy is a better way to say it. And I think that's what Coelho is talking about. So Coelho is talking about the same phenomenon, the same principle or idea, and he uses it in a spiritual way. That it's the Tao, the universe, that is testing us. A spiritual power that is giving us this test. Right? There's our own internal, inside of us, something that kind of pushes us or attracts us to want to grow, to want to learn, to need to be challenged. And that at the same time, we are part of something much bigger, the universe, the Tao, that also wants to help us grow and learn and become wiser. That we're kind of working together. And that when we listen to that, the best part of ourselves inside, and we start to take action, to learn, to grow, to challenge ourselves, that when we do that this power, the Tao, the universe, will then come in and start to help us. But this power does not just help us by making things easier. That's the tricky part. Sometimes this power helps us by making things more difficult. Right? Sometimes this power helps us by challenging us. It's like a good coach, right? You're lifting weights, you're in the gym, you can deadlift 800 pounds. 800 pounds is easy. You're getting a little lazy. You're starting to become lazy. Every workout, you just do 800 pounds. You're not pushing yourself. So you have a good coach. What does the coach do? Well, the coach comes in the next day, he adds 50 pounds. Okay, lift that today, 850. And maybe you're like, oh man, come on, coach. Right? The coach just made your life more difficult. The coach just added 50 pounds, just made this more difficult. Now your workout is going to be tougher. You're not sure you can even lift it. That's 50 extra pounds. You're not even sure can you do it. So it's easy for maybe the athlete that morning is going to complain about the coach. This coach, he's just making my life harder. This sucks. And right? If you have a bad mindset, a bad attitude, then you can see this coach as being almost an enemy. Because this coach is just trying to, doing something bad to you by making your life harder, by challenging you more, by giving you this extra problem. But of course, the coach actually cares about you. The coach is trying to help you. The coach is trying to prevent you from being lazy. The coach is helping you to find more strength, to develop more strength, to push yourself more, to be better. Well, that's the same idea that Coelho's giving us through Santiago in the story, that God, Tao, universe, whatever, does this to us also. When we take this action going forward, it's not always that God's just going to make it all easy for you, because we know that's not best for us, right? Just like with the coach. For a weightlifter, the coach isn't going to just give him light weights all the time that are easy. Every day is easy, because the coach knows that won't make the athlete stronger. The coach has to make things more difficult many times. Now, sometimes the coach does make it easier, right? Sometimes the coach, a good coach, bad coaches don't do this, but good coaches will see, the athlete today, he's tired. Today, he's been working too hard. His muscles are really sore. He's too tired. Today, he needs things to be easy today. So the good coach will really watch. And when the athlete is becoming too tired, then the coach will do the opposite. The coach will say, okay, today's an easy day. And sometimes, especially good athletes, sometimes they're too motivated. No, I can do more, right? Sometimes those top athletes, those very motivated athletes, they want to just go hard all the time. They're not lazy. They're the opposite. They're too hard. They're too tight. So sometimes a good coach has to help those guys relax and slow down. No, you're going to rest today. No, today's a rest day. Today's an easy day. Right? Because those guys that are too motivated, what happens? If they push too hard, they get injured, right? Or their body gets too tired and they stop getting stronger. So it is true that with this idea, if we look at it spiritually, like Coelho's describing in the book, he's saying that, okay, yeah, sometimes the universe, Tao, God, whatever, sometimes will help you by making things easier. Right? By helping you to meet people, for example. Helping you to meet someone who's going to teach you, that you're going to learn from them. But other times, God or Tao is going to make things more difficult for you, to challenge you to get stronger, to challenge you to learn more, to challenge you to develop more faith, more strength inside, more wisdom. It's not always just going to make everything easier all the time. And just like with that athlete lifting weights, as you get stronger, the challenges are going to get more difficult. Because easy challenges won't make you stronger anymore, right? As you get stronger and wiser and smarter, you need bigger challenges to overcome. You need more difficult problems to learn more. So, from both a psychological point of view and from a spiritual point of view, it's really a similar idea. You can think of it either way. You could think of it as both happening at the same time. Why is this important? Well, it's important because when you realize this, when you realize this psychologically, and when you realize this spiritually, well, then you are more prepared. You have a better mindset, right? You have a better mindset because you expect challenges. You expect them to happen, right? You expect the challenges to get more difficult. You expect that things will get more and more difficult as you get closer and closer and closer to that big goal, that big success. You're not surprised by it. Many people are surprised by this, and then they just complain and complain, and they get weak, and they get a bad mindset, and then they quit. Right? Again, it's like the weightlifter, he comes in, the coach adds 50 pounds, and just imagine he just says, well, this sucks, I'm leaving. And he just walks out and he quits and he never lifts weights again. Right? Well, that's what many people do in life. They do that. They get so close to speaking English, effortlessly, just really mastering it. But they start having challenges at the end. Maybe it's pronunciation. That's a big one for a lot of people. As they become more advanced, they're doing really well, but they're still having these pronunciation problems because that's a tough one. That is a tough one. And they're like, I'm almost to the goal. I'm just, it's good enough, and I'm just going to quit. And then they stop. It's terrible. It's terrible. People do this financially, right? For example, they'll try to start a business. They want to be financially free. They'll start a business, but then it's tough, and then they don't get rich. In 6 months they're not rich. In 6 months they're not financially free, and so they just quit. Oh, this sucks. Oh, I'm never gonna do it. And then they go, and they just go back to their job they hate, and they never do it again. It's sad. And for myself, my own story is that the first kind of real business I tried failed. I failed. And I had to go back to doing jobs, but then I kept trying, and I tried lots of different things. And, I've told many stories about this, living in my car, living in my van, right? My challenges got, and I chose these challenges, but they became more and more and more bigger and bigger challenges, more and more difficult, bigger and bigger changes. So you should expect this. Don't expect life to get easier. This is a saying. It's an idiom. The idiom is this is an idiom, a very common. It's a long time, an old saying in English. Don't ask God to make life easier. Ask God to make you stronger. It's kind of, it's good advice, right? Don't pray for life to be easier. Pray to be stronger so you can handle it. Again, the weightlifting metaphor is so clear. Don't pray for the weight to be less. Pray to be stronger so you can lift it. Good weightlifters, they don't pray for lighter weights. They want the heavy weight. That's what builds the muscle. That's what builds the strength. Otherwise, they stay small and weak. Well, this is also true psychologically. I know it's not always easy to do this, because especially when the weight goes up very suddenly, it can seem like too much. That's the hard part, right? When you feel like I can't do it, I can't get through, it's too much, then you just have to focus on a smaller goal for a while. Focus on something smaller. But overall, this is a very nice mindset that Coelho's teaching us. And the mindset is this: expect to be tested. Expect to be tested in life. Expect to be tested on every journey. Expect to be tested with every goal. Not only expect it, but learn to appreciate it as a gift. I know some things are not easy to appreciate, but certainly in life we could be more strong and grateful about our challenges. Now I know, some of the really big ones, if someone you love dies, or you're getting divorced and you're really miserable and upset. I know immediately you're not going to think, oh, this is great, I'm being tested. Of course not, okay? Of course not. But most days, the challenges we have are much less painful than that, and still we all complain about it, right? We complain about so many challenges in life and difficulties that are not that big, and we develop this kind of weak mindset. What if instead we looked at them like Santiago does? Right? So that if you lose money or you lose your job, what if you look at it like Santiago did when he got all his money stolen? Right? And of course he was unhappy for about a day or two, and then he changed his mindset. And he said, okay, this is a challenge. I'm going to stay on my journey. I'm going to keep going. I think we would be happier. Right? We'd be happier, we'd be stronger, we'd learn more. It's a better mindset to have. It's just a better psychology, a stronger psychology to look at difficulties in life, to look at them as tests, that your commitment is being tested. And that these are tests sent by the Tao, God, the universe, Allah, Brahman, whatever, to benefit you, right? To benefit you, just like the coach adding weight, just like the coach pushing you to do a harder workout. It's a message. You can do it. You can get stronger. You can get wiser. And by stronger, of course, I don't mean physically stronger. I'm talking really about, psychologically stronger. And indeed, the best, the most proactive, the strongest mindset of all is when you start to actually choose the challenges yourself. When you actually say, you know what, I'm going to choose something difficult to do just because it will push me to learn, it will push me to grow. I'm going to do difficult, scary things in order to grow more courageous, more strong, more wise. That's when you start to take control of your own life. You start to be responsible for your own life. And it's a great feeling. In fact, in general, I find it's much easier to survive and overcome difficulties that you choose. It's the ones you don't choose that seem the toughest, right? Because, this isn't fair. Right? When you choose a difficulty, well, then you can't blame anybody else, right? You're like, well, I decided to do this, and it just seems to make it easier to get through. So I think what Coelho is showing us with Santiago is to kind of change the mindset. So when stuff happens to you, things you don't choose, instead of looking at it as I'm a victim, instead choose to look at it in a very positive, strong way. This is a test from God. This is a test from the universe designed to help me. And this will make it easier to get through. It still will be difficult. It still might be painful, but it's a much more positive, powerful mindset to have instead of the victim mindset. Poor me, right? Santiago doesn't say poor me. He's still scared, right? He's like in what we talked about when he had the vision and they said they were going to kill him if it was wrong. He was still scared. He was still afraid. He's still worried about it, but he had the mindset that this is part of my journey. This is a test from God, on my journey. This is part of the journey that I have to overcome this fear. And if I die, I'm afraid to die, but at least I die doing what I'm supposed to be doing on my journey, right? It gives him a kind of strength, an inner strength. Instead of, oh, poor me, I'm trying to help them, and now they're saying they're going to kill me. This sucks. That's not fair, right? He could have really complained about it because it's not fair. Those guys were not being fair. He was just trying to help them. He just told him his dream, and then they say they're going to kill him if it's wrong. I mean, that's really, those guys are being pretty unfair to him, right? If you think about it logically, that's terrible. But he chose not to focus on that. Yes, it was unfair, but he didn't focus on that. Instead, he focused on it being a spiritual test that he would overcome, that it was a test of his courage, and it was a test of his honesty. And that made him more confident and strong and able to handle the fear much better. So I very much like this message from Coelho, because I think he's right. The victim mindset is very attractive because it gives us sympathy from people. That's why it's dangerous. Right? Say, I'm a victim, it's not fair. Well, of course, people who care about you, they'll say, you're right, it's not fair. That's okay. It's natural. It's human nature to do that for a little bit. But you have to be very, very careful, because it's dangerous if you continue to focus on that, because then you will feel weaker and more powerless. Right? It's the opposite of you getting stronger spiritually and emotionally. It'll do the opposite to you if you keep focusing on how you're a victim and this situation's so unfair and other people are being bad and you're being cheated and on and on and on. This will just make you feel weaker and weaker and weaker. Instead of learning, you will grow more foolish. Instead of getting stronger, you will get weaker. That's the danger, the huge danger of that victim mentality. And Coelho is giving us a nice alternative choice. Alternative mindset, that when these things happen, instead think, I'm being challenged. I'm being challenged by God. I'm being challenged by the universe. Or even, I'm being challenged by my own psychology. This is a test. This is a test. A test to be stronger. A test to have more faith. A test to overcome this fear. A test to deal with this sadness and difficulty. This is an opportunity for growth, for learning. And it's still difficult, and I still don't like it, and it's still painful, and it's still scary, or whatever, but I'm going to get through it. I'm going to learn from it. That's such a powerful mindset. Try to use it when you have difficulties in life, small ones or big ones. Start with the small ones. Those are easier to do. When you have these small difficulties in life, catch yourself. Stop yourself from complaining. Stop yourself from thinking as a victim, and instead think, maybe this is a challenge. Maybe this is a test. What can I learn from this? Use this with your English. Okay, there will be times with your English where you'll think, oh, I'm not getting better. Oh, I made this mistake. Oh, this is difficult. Maybe you get a new VIP lesson. Oh, I don't understand this one. Whatever. Or maybe you try to speak English and someone doesn't understand you because of your pronunciation. Well, instead of complaining and feeling weak and wanting to quit and blah, 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 think, okay, this is a test. This is a test. This is a challenge that I can learn from. And then take action. Take action and have faith in yourself that you will overcome this challenge. A test of your commitment to keep going, to commit and keep going. That's the biggest one of all. Don't quit. Don't quit. Keep going. As always, join my VIP program at effortlessenglishclub.com. My pronunciation course also. Join both at effortlessenglishclub.com. Go now to effortlessenglishclub.com.